the key risk issues are weather, labor, and increased costs. Weather is always unpredictable, can be bad timing, and it impacts the yields of the harvest and also the quality of the fruit. Labor, I think, is an extremely big one that crosses wineries, all wineries regardless of size. With the increase in the California wine demand, it has created an extremely competitive labor market, and wineries are working really hard right now to retain their top talent. Typically, it's been a pretty incestuous industry. There's also looming labor shortages right now for agricultural workers, especially in the Napa and Sonoma and Mendocino and coastal counties due to the tightening of immigration by the U.S. There's also the impact, which everybody's heard about in the news, for Assembly Bill 1313, which has shortened the agricultural workday from 10 hours to 8 hours. Increased costs, I mean, always an issue, especially as the California wine industry is gearing up. It's in a growth mode. And so you have compliance costs, you have technology, investing in your technology, in your IT systems, also in your equipment to acquire equipment that will be sustainable into the future. We're seeing a lot of our wineries invest in the vineyards and making new vineyard acquisitions, and other costs that our wineries feel, in fact all employers feel, are the increasing costs for health benefits, forever skyrocketing, and now followed right behind that, workers' compensation costs are also going up again. So especially in the vineyard side. So our wineries are expecting to see some increased costs in those arenas. One of the things that we really find with wineries in particular, and especially with all of the issues that wineries face, is that they have very little time to devote to their insurance policies. And what we have done that I think has been most impactful is we've done a lot of policy audits, because it doesn't really require a lot of time for the winery to say, okay, here's our policies, here's our binders, here's who we are, and then we can do a really intense policy review. And it's been amazing, some of the deficiencies that we have found in the coverages, and sometimes it's the little things that can have a huge impact at the time of a loss. For example, there was one winery client that we're now working with where they had their case goods that were stored off-site that weren't insured. They weren't a scheduled location on their policy. We found deficiencies in building ordinance. We found deficiencies in business income. And we've been able to identify those and provide more benchmarking on where those limits should be. And we've also, in doing policy audits, been very adept at identifying different ways that they can insure their inventory in particular, and being able to insure their inventory for all perils like quake and flood, and not having to pay anymore for their insurance. And ultimately that helps them have a more comprehensive program. What the Heffernan difference really is that we have large market access, and we truly have small broker customer care. We specialize in our niches. We're known for that throughout the industry. Carriers with their specialty programs come to us. We have 7 wine specialty programs. We think that's the largest of any agent or broker. And what that really allows us to do is match up the winery operation with the best coverage and the best forms. There's so many variances in how, what different models that the wineries operate in. And we can, again, best identify that coverage form at the right price and provide the levels of services needed for that policy. We also have a team approach, and we work with our natural expertise and talents, and we're extremely responsive. We understand, again, that a winery's time is an extremely valuable resource, and we are very good at timely responses. An example of that is we just helped a client out through a large acquisition that they were going through. There's a lot of phone calls, lots of different documents to review, lots of schedules, and the winery probably paid us a great compliment and said, "You make us feel like we are your only client."